Apache. There's nothing hotter in the air or on the ground for technicians like Crew Chief Jack Holt. Because if you want to learn high-tech aviation skills, you can't find a better classroom.
The Apache has advanced everything. Fiber optics, onboard computers, a TV for target acquisition, and the gunner can aim just by moving his head. Talk about hot. This bird can make tracks at 200 miles an hour.
This is Fleet Apache, meeting Rally Point.
Soaring to tomorrow, flying high and free. Now I'm going places I never thought I'd be.
This is Fleet Apache, rejoin on me.
It's all come together here inside of me. Be all that you can be.
Now that's cool. No, that's hot.
Find your future in the Army.
After 3 miles in 65-degree water and miles left to go, I refuse to waste my training or my energy by using anything but the best equipment. The Aral bike by Aries is built to win. The Aral frame is curved to allow a short wheelbase that flattens hills, straightens curves, and cheats the wind. Call Aries at 800-621-0851, extension 316.
When you send a package to Europe, do you get that sinking feeling that it could be anywhere? Here, there, out of your hands, out of your control, lost? Well, Federal Express goes to Europe. We make sending a package there as easy and reliable as it is here, because Federal tracks your package with computerized scanners. Federal Express, 2-day service to the major cities in Europe. Why fool around with anyone else?
Welcome back, everybody. And if you missed the top of the show, we're visiting with first-year coach in the NBA, Doug Collins of the Chicago Bulls. And right off the bat, I got to ask you this. You must have had all kinds of goosebumps in your very first game because you were never even assistant coach. And here you are, head coach of the Chicago Bulls.
Well, Ed, it was exciting for me. My first game regular season was in Madison Square Garden playing the New York Knicks, and you know, brought back a lot of memories as a player playing against Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe and that group of players. But it was nice to go out and get that first win. Michael Jordan scoring 50 points, and to say it was a rather exciting evening for me would be an understatement.
Coach, I've asked this of a lot of the players before the game when they start to put on their game face. Does the coach have a game face? And if so, when do you put yours on?
You know, I think that it starts like in the locker room as you start to prepare for the team to go out on the floor. We watch some videotape, guys get dressed, they get taped. We try to set the mood in the locker room that, you know, we've got work to do, but we want the work to be fun. You know, I've always felt that basketball, as you talked about, is fun, and it's supposed to be fun. And I try to make the job exciting. I try to let them have a good time, but at the same time, we have to take care of business. And that's what this team has done this year. We've been very good at preparing ourselves and guys really playing 100% every moment.
I know the viewers out there in that eye right now want to know one thing. What do you have to fall back on when you try to plan your strategy? You've never coached before, so what do you fall back on in terms of knowledge as to being a better coach?
Well, I think the one thing, as a player, I always tried to absorb all the knowledge I could get. And you know, I thought that on the floor, I thought a lot as a player. I did things instinctively, but I also tried to think a lot on the floor. And I played for great coaches. I had a great high school coach, an outstanding college coach. You know, I played for Gene Shue, Billy Cunningham. I played for Hank Iba. So, I mean, I played for some outstanding coaches, and I think that I learned along the way. But trial by battle is a lot different. When you get over there and it's on the line, you got to be prepared to react quickly.
I described Doug Collins as the John Havlicek type of player when you were playing. What kind of a coach are you as opposed to the player? You were an aggressive, tough, gutty player. Does that fall into coaching?
Yeah, I think I'm the same kind of coach. I think that I'm very sensitive to the players in terms of the little nuances that go into traveling and being a pro player. I mean, it's like we played last night in Los Angeles, travel here today, play the Warriors tonight, go to Seattle. And, you know, it's a never-ending battle to keep these guys fresh. And I think that the fact that I played and played the style of ball I played helped me know what these guys are going through. And you know, I think I'm a player's coach. I don't yell. I don't scream. I try to relate to them. I try not to fluctuate between a loss and a win, personality-wise. We lost 2 tough games on this road trip, and I'm the same guy as when we took off on the trip after winning 2 straight. And I think, yeah, that you have to maintain that through a course of a year.
I think I heard something just a moment ago. The coach said that you work to instill, keep these guys up and keep them flowing. Does doing that keep the coach up? Because it's tough staying up for 82 games.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. The one thing I try to never do is if I get down, I never let the players see me that way, because I'm an enthusiastic person by nature, and I'm an outgoing person, and if I'm hurt, I don't ever want the players to see that. So I'll do that in the sanctuary of my room, or I'll get away on my own. But these players have to know that at all times I'm trying to keep them juiced.
Coach, let's look at you along the sideline. What do you really like along the sideline? I don't see you tossing chairs and whatever, but what do you like?
I think I'm calm. I think I'm pretty cool. I think with the team I have, though, Ed, I have to display a lot of emotion in terms of encouragement. So I'm staying with the guys, and I'm rooting with them and trying to keep them in the ball game emotionally, because our team thrives on emotion. You know, we have a lot of a college atmosphere here because we don't have 3 or 4 superstars. Obviously, we have Michael, and then we've got guys who are fitting in and playing different roles for us. And we've got to be ready to play every single night because we're not going to out-talent people.
Really moving the ball. Hey, you get it inside, you don't like it, you fan it, boom, get some nice open shots. That's the way to work the ball. Now listen up. If they run, Charles, if we run 52 and they're not going to play you,
Number 23, Michael Jordan, 1 plus the penalty, 2 shots. Number 31, Will Waiters returns.
Does Doug Collins have a permanent seat around the bench, or is your seat standing?
I usually kneel on one knee. My knees are so bad now from playing. I get a towel and I sort of kneel, and I break the toe on my right shoe down from where I've got it all bent, so I'm going to have to get me some new shoes when the season's over.
Any superstitions along the bench as a coach during the course of the action that you're watching?
Well, when we're on a road trip, when I get off the bus, I always tell the trainer, I says, tell the guys to bring their games. I always leave the bus saying that, just tell them to bring their games. And then at the national anthem, I've always stood during my career and everything else right behind the trainer. So I stand behind the trainer. Other than that, I guess I'm not too superstitious.
When you went into the Chicago Bulls to interview for this job, before you actually got the job, what did you say to impress upon management that even though I have not coached, here's what I've learned, here's my philosophy of the game, here's why I can be a true addition to the Chicago Bulls?
Well, and I think the only thing I could do was just go in and sell myself as a person and the way I feel the game should be played. I took the existing personnel, the way I thought it should be used. I thought that the team had to be improvement on its defense, on its rebounding. We've done that. I think we're leading the league in rebounding. I think we've taken the ball out of Michael Jordan's hands to bring it up. We've got Paxson and Coulter now bringing the ball up the floor. Michael's working off the ball more, which is, saving him work. And I thought that if we were going to be a team, we had to have 12 players who were going to contribute during the course of the year. And, like tonight, there's guys who had subpar nights last night that we're going to have to count on tonight if we're going to get this win, because we can't expect Michael every single night to carry the team by himself. We must get production from everybody who plays.
So in other words, you told management that no one man is going to beat a team like Boston or the Lakers, so in order for the Chicago Bulls to be successful, here's what I think I can do.
Absolutely. It's got to be a collection of their individual talents put together into a team. And, you take an Earl Curitan and his rebounding and his running and defense, and an Oakley and his rebounding and the things he can do, and a Paxson and a Corzine, and you blend all these guys together and you try to get the maximum. And the big thing is, I think you have to let these guys who maybe aren't getting the headlines understand how much you appreciate what they're doing and sell them, because a lot of times, they can go along and not people know much about them, and they're really putting us in a position for Michael to be spectacular at the end of the game and give us a chance to win.
Somebody out there in the viewing audience might say, my goodness, this guy has lived out of a suitcase, high school days, college days, pro days. Why does he still want to continue living out of a suitcase? Even more pressure now as a head coach.
Basketball gets in your blood. It's like anything else. It's like you enjoy doing what you're doing. I've always loved basketball. I've loved it as a player. I loved it as a broadcaster. I love it as a coach. And it's a great way to make a living. And I tell you, if I can continue to do this for the next 10 or 12 years, I'd love to do it, because you stay in the top flight hotels, you're treated first class. It's a great way to earn a living for your family.
So in other words, you keep yourself on a natural high because the fact that you just love the game, because 82-game schedule, not counting the playoffs, is a lot of action.
You bet. But I tell you one thing, if you're a competitor, the minute you walk in that arena, if you don't start feeling the little butterflies, either as a player or a coach, that's the time you better think about getting out of the game, because, that's a challenge every single night.
We're going to come back and spend some more time with a guy they call in Chicago simply the coach, because that's what he is. Doug Collins of the Bulls. We'll be back in just a moment.
The world is waiting. We can take you there with Air Canada style. See how much we care. World class, worldwide. World class, worldwide. So fly Air Canada for all the best you deserve. All over the world. World class, worldwide. Air Canada.
This year, we're talking pennant. We've got the best pitching. We're stronger up the middle.
Think it's too early to be talking baseball? Not if you're a real fan. And here's where real fans will follow up on those preseason predictions. The Sporting News, the first and best news weekly in all of sports. The only one that brings you complete, in-depth coverage every week. Information you can't get anywhere else. Follow your favorite players and teams in the Sporting News, the fans' favorite for over 100 years. All the news and stats and standings, everything you want, every week, starting with a big baseball special preview issue. Grab a pencil and here's a friend with all the details.
Call 1-800-351-5200. Save more than half off the single copy price and get 38 issues of the Sporting News for 3 payments of $7.16. That's 48% off the regular price. Plus, the guide to baseball nicknames. Call 1-800-351-5200.
Fever! Where's the package?
The Air Express Company doesn't know. Nobody knows.
Hold it! If you'd used Federal Express, you wouldn't be having this problem. Come with me. Our customer service centers are the most sophisticated in the business. Here's all the information about your package.
Uh-huh.
So we can tell you its exact status within 30 minutes or your money back.
Uh-huh.
Next time, call Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
I should have called Federal. I don't know why I didn't call Federal. Nobody knows.
Welcome back, everybody. We call it the fastest half hour in television, and when I asked Doug Collins what time it is, he started to tell me how to make a watch, so we're in great shape. Coach, I got to give you your ammunition here.
Oh, yes, sir. This is a little foreign to me, though. I haven't played in a while. I can sort of bounce it at guys now, but I don't know if I can still put it in the hoop or not.
Now, I realize, Coach, in the National Basketball Association, and I've listened to you when you were doing color commentary for the networks, okay? How tough is defense in this league, to be successful playing defense in this league?
Man, I tell you, Ed, these guys are so great, it's ridiculous. I mean, the shots that they make on the floor with 2-3 guys on them, if there was not great defense played in the NBA, the score would be 160 to 150 something every single night. And we figure we go in and play LA last night, and they score 110 points, and that's Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Worthy, Byron Scott, Cooper. So we're not defending. Those guys score 150, 160 points.
How tough is it to teach it? Because you got a lot of freewheelers coming in this league. How tough is it for you to teach it? Because that can give you gray hairs alone.
I think that you have to have a group of guys who are willing to learn defense and know that that will always keep you in the game. That if the offense is not there, that defensively, if you will play hard, you have a chance to win every single night. And I think that is in any sport, basketball, whatever. If the other team can't score, then you've got a chance to win.
So in other words, you can't play defense in this league unless you play it with confidence.
You bet. And you talk about all the offense that you think about, but when we start going to the scouting report, we start on how can we defend them, not how can we score on them, but how are we going to defend them. And that's the way we set up our scouting reports.
Can working on and concentrating on defense in this league hurt your offensive game, like, say, a Michael Jordan?
Well, like, for instance, we play in L.A. last night, and Michael's got to guard Magic Johnson. So Magic's driving him through a lot of screens, and he's keeping Michael active, which is going to burn energy. Now, if Michael has the luxury of being able to play a player maybe who's not going to look so much offense, then he can roam and maybe be more of a team defensive player rather than have to concentrate so much on a man. Larry Bird does that a lot in Boston. He'll roam a lot. A lot of times they'll put him on the weaker offensive player and let him roam and be a team defender. But, in this league today, there aren't too many weak links on the floor that you can just say put a guy and say, hey, we'll let you go guard him and look to help out. The guys can all score.
Depending on when you're playing a team like a Golden State or a Lakers, does that determine how much playing time you may have to give a guy like Jordan? Because you might want to rest him for 5 minutes if he's playing the Lakers, right?
You bet. And like last night I was in a quandary, you know, keep going back to last night, but we're down 17 to start the fourth period, and we're coming into Golden State tonight. And I looked at my coaches and I said, I'm going to give them 4 minutes, and we don't make a run, then I got to be thinking about tomorrow night. I'm not going to play Michael Jordan 45 minutes in a 17-point game. We got to come back the next night, because the 10 points he might score in that period of time doesn't mean anything to me. So it's not that you throw in the towel, but if you can't make a run on these people with your regulars, now you got to start thinking about, well, what's going to happen tomorrow night? And it puts you in a quandary. We made a run, so last night I ended up playing Michael 45 minutes, but I'm not concerned about Michael Jordan, because every night, you know, he's like the old proverbial gunfighter where, you know, he's standing at the bar and somebody comes in and says, are you Michael Jordan? Let's go out in the street and draw, and he usually meets the challenge.
You know, I'm looking at Coach Doug Collins across the way on the bench, and I got a feeling that you can't afford to think about Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. You got to be in the game as the coach, because listening to you got to be in for 4 quarters.
Oh, man, and you fall asleep and a team hits you with a 10-0, 12-0 spurt, and you might not get it back. And the teams that are great in this league will normally do that. They'll lull you to sleep, and they'll get a funky lineup out there, maybe with 3 guards or 3 big men, and if you don't pick it up quickly and the matchups are poor, you might not get back in the game.
How much do you rely on your assistants?
Very much. Johnny Bach, who was the head coach here at Golden State, is my advanced scout. He does an absolutely fantastic job. He has 36 years coaching experience. Gene Littles was the interim head coach in Cleveland last year, has been an NBA assistant. And Tex Winter, who's been a coach for 40 years.
Long Beach State?
Long Beach State. He's been at Washington. He's been in the Houston Rockets, and he's terrific. I have great assistants, which have helped me learn to develop and grow too as a coach.
Your philosophy must be one of true strength, because you've probably captured some of your philosophy about this game from the people that you've worked around as coaches.
Oh, you know, Ed, I think in any business you do, you better extract the good virtues of things that you see and sort of go away from the other things and make the good things part of your repertoire, because obviously they work. And you know, anybody who says you're a genius in this business as a coach is crazy, because we all borrow from somebody else. There's not too many people who's doing any you know, great things out on the floor. It's just we've all borrowed from the great coaches of the past, and the game has just changed a little bit. It's just become a higher flying, running, jumping game.
Now that you have coached for a while, what kind of player really, not naming names of specific players, but what kind of ability can play for Doug Collins?
First of all, guys got to be willing every single night to play hard, and he can't make continuously the same mental mistakes on the floor. If a guy knows what he's doing on the floor, if he knows what we're doing, and if he plays hard, he can play for me. Because a talent doesn't necessarily win all the time in this league. It's going to win a lot of times, but if you know what you're doing and you play hard and you play together, then I'll take anybody.
You follow the Bulls from afar, of course, before your coaching career. How good can this team be?
Well, this is a very young team, and I think that it has the makings of being an outstanding team. When you look at the youth of our team, I think Michael Jordan is 23, Steve Coulter is 24, John Paxson is 25, you've got Brad Sellers 23, Oakley 23. So we've got a young cast of characters. Now the key is stability, and it's another thing I sold to the Bulls people. Like, if you want a top-flight organization, you better give a coach a chance. You better keep the situation stable. You better get a nucleus. You can't keep turning players over every year, and you build maybe 1 or 2 players every single year. And then at the end of the 4 years, now you put yourself in a position like Atlanta. They went with youth, and you see what they're doing right now.
And the other thing, too, is you better not be thinking about the pressures of, if we lose, I'm going to be out of a job.
That's right. When you start thinking negatively, then you got problems. When you do that, then you got big problems, because now the players pick up on that. And because we've lost 2 games, I can't go in here tonight worrying about my job and put extra pressure on these guys like, guys, this is a must-win tonight. If we don't win this game, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because you do that, and now you're playing with hand grenades.
Hey, we're visiting with Coach Doug Collins. I told you can talk. Yes, indeed, as well as Coach. We'll come back with about 3 more minutes with the coach right after this, so stay right with us.
Follow your favorite players and teams in the sporting news, the fans' favorite for over 100 years. All the news and stats and standings, everything you want, every week, starting with a big baseball special preview issue. Grab a pencil, and here's a friend with all the details.
Save more than half off the single copy price and get 38 issues of the Sporting News for 3 payments of $7.16. That's 48% off the regular price, plus the guide to baseball nicknames. Call 1-800-351-5200.
The world is waiting. We can take you there with Air Canada style. See how much we care. World class, worldwide. World class, worldwide. So fly Air Canada for all the best you deserve. All over the world. World class, worldwide. Air Canada.
We'll return after these messages.
So you think you're a cowboy, but you're only
Willie Nelson, a legend in jeans. And those jeans gotta be Wrangler Cowboy Cut. Designed by cowboys, they're the only official jeans of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. Wrangler Cowboy Cut jeans.
Hey, everybody knows real cowboys wear Wrangler.
Rollo, where's the package?
I have no idea. And the Air Express Company has no idea either.
Hold it! If you'd used Federal Express, you wouldn't be having this problem. Come with me. Federal tracks your package with scanners from where it's picked up to where it's delivered. Giving you its exact status within 30 minutes or your money back.
Next time, send it Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
I had no idea Federal did that. Absolutely no idea.
Attention! Congratulations, Steve Quinn of Seattle, Washington. You're this week's winner of our one-on-one giveaway. Would you like to win a football, baseball, or basketball compliments of one-on-one? Just send a card or letter before midnight Monday to One-on-One, P.O. Box 5112, South San Francisco, California, 94083-5112. Remember, there's no purchase and no obligation, so send those cards and letters today, and you might be a winner.
Welcome back, everybody. Spending some time, and it's moving right along in this fastest half hour in television with Doug Collins, the coach of the Chicago Bulls. And we ask a player every now and then, what are you working on to be better? Same thing would apply to the coach. There's got to be things that you're working on to be a better coach.
I think that you have to study. You have to be able to look at film and break down what's good for you and what's not working well. I think you have to be able to continually keep your thumb on the pulse beat of the team. To me, that's as important as anything else is. And you know who the best person helping that is? The trainer. He lets you know what these guys are feeling because he is the buffer. He's the one that tapes them, and he's the one that's around them when the coach is not there, and he gets the pulse beat, and he really is very helpful like that.
When you are pacing the sidelines and your team is doing the things that they should be doing, but there's still got to be some extra added attraction in your mind to say, hey, we're doing this, but we got to keep it up because this is Boston we're playing.
You know, it's funny you say that because, you know, it's like when you're playing a real good team and you get a little bit of a lead, you look up at the clock and say, thing's not moving.
Like last night.
Like last night, you say, why isn't this clock moving? And then when you get behind, it's like it's like going around so fast. But the NBA game's a marathon. And, I mean, you better be ready to go for 48 minutes. I mean, there's no lax time. People think that the first quarter doesn't mean anything. That sets the tempo. I don't buy that.
You're in a tough area. The media in Chicago, they boo funerals.
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you something. Does that play on your mind, too? Because you know that there's going to be print.
Oh, you bet. And that's why, you know, my father always told me, he said, you know, the true test of your character is how you react to adversity. We can all have the world by the tail and be great, and everybody be cheering you. But what happens when a little adversity comes in? Now do you shun the press? Do you do this? Do you become a different person? And I will be the same guy. I tell you that right now. I learned it in Philadelphia. You know, Philadelphia's not an easy press either.
That's right.
And I was there for 9 years.
Chew you up and spit you out.
You bet. And the one thing I found out, Ed, is you can't take it personal. The people, they've got a job to do, and if they write something, you can't take it personal. Because if you do, that will affect you now and the way you react to them.
You're as fit as you were as a player. You could probably still push the ball up the court. How do you stay fit? You run a lot?
Well, I mean, it has a way of standing over there on that sideline when your heart's racing. I think it burns calories. But I try to walk. I try to ride a bicycle and do some things to stay active. I don't want to fall apart too quickly.
Let's take the folks back a little bit. When did you decide that you would like to coach this game? You played it well, you played for some great coaches. When did you decide you wanted to also be like those great coaches?
As a high school player, because I so worship my high school coach, I thought about coaching. And then you go to college and you know, things start coming to you as a player. And then you get to the pro and you become pretty selfish and you think about yourself. And then you get an opportunity, and when the opportunity came at age 35, I just felt like I had to go for it. You know, I've never been afraid to fail in anything I've done. You know, I think Julius Erving used to always tell me, he says, the great ones dare to be great. And doing that, you get an opportunity to fail, but you've got to put yourself in that position. And that's just the way I've tried to live my life.
Okay, there's the camera. We got to have some advice for those young folks out there who are aspiring to play college ball, professional ball, maybe coaching. What advice can you give to the young person out there? Is it sacrifice and discipline and dedication?
I think that, Ed, and the most of all, have fun. If you're not having fun, then you better reevaluate what this means to you. Because if you're going to get up early and work and train and all, then it's got to be fun. Otherwise, find something else.
You got to
pass
dedicate
the ball
yourself
to someone else.
I like that. I didn't have the great hands, but you did. But we've been visiting with the coach of the Chicago Bulls, Doug Collins, and I'll tell you something right now. You know, there's times when I've said I would have done this for free, and I got to tell you right now, visiting with you, I'd have done it for free. Coach.
Good to meet you, Ed. Take care.
Pleasure. My pleasure. Coach Doug Collins of the Chicago Bulls, and we'll be back with your favorite athlete again next week. See you then.
One-on-One has been brought to you by